One thing I really like about Rune Factory 4 is that you can change the difficulty at any time, even if you're halfway through the game. But being the challenge-seeking person that I am, I set the game to hard as early as I possibly could. And everything was going great. Until I started fighting the bosses. Then I kinda regretted my decision. But I roughed it out until the end of the game. So this week I'm going to be covering my top 5 hardest monsters to fight in Rune Factory 4. But before we begin, I want to set some ground rules. Number 1, I'm not putting any bosses from the Charance Maze or Rune Prana in this list. Because, let's face it, every boss from there would be on this list if I did. Number 2, this list is mainly going to be containing bosses that give me the hardest time from the beginning of the game to the end of Act 2. And finally, number 3 is that the final boss won't be on this list because I don't want to spoil any of the story for new players. Oh, and this isn't a rule, but it's kind of a warning. I'm pretty bad at pronouncing names, so please forgive me. Now that that's out of the way, let's start off with number 5, Mbrosia. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why is the first boss on this list of top 5 hardest bosses in Rune Factory 4 the first boss in the game? Well, let me describe to you how fighting the first boss went for me. After I received my mission from the Divine Dragon, I merrily made my way through the forest, dispatching the monsters within with ease. After I reached the back of the forest, I discovered a room containing a worm on a stick. And as I had my enemy in my sights, it howled a mighty roar. We fought fiercely for many a minute when my enemy went limp in defeat. Or so I had thought. Just as I began to celebrate my victory, the monster transformed into a butterfly creature. Upon seeing this transformation, I laughed, and then I thought to myself, surely this is going to be a piece of cake if it's anything like its previous form. It was at this moment that the monster proceeded to beat the ever-loving bejesus out of me. Let's face it, most of us probably had to fight this thing more than once to beat it, and I was definitely one of those people. For being the first boss, this thing is really unforgiving. Even when I replayed the game to get some footage, I died a couple of times. So I definitely think this guy deserves a spot on the list, which is why I put him at number 5, but unfortunately, this is only the first of the numerous butt kickings I received in this game. Number 4, Thunderbolt. This guy may be the second boss, but holy crap did they kick up the difficulty a notch. When I first got to this boss, I felt pretty confident in my ability, so I thought I could handle him. Shortly after this thought, he headbutted me in the air, which stuns you, and then he kicked me into the wall, which nearly killed me. What did kill me was the thunderbolt he launched at me, which hit me 4 times in a row. But this didn't deter me. After I died, I went back, I reforged my equipment, grinded a little bit for levels, and then I fought him again. And then I beat him. Or so I had thought. This jerk is the first boss that fakes death and then immediately comes out swinging. And throughout my entire playthrough after this, I never trusted when a boss appeared to have died. Stupid horse making me paranoid. Number 3, Aquamelion. You know, when I first fought Aquamelion, I thought he was going to be easy because all he did was shoot bubbles, then start spinning around in circles in the air. But after I got him low, he started summoning little laser monsters like crazy on top of having to dodge his own moves, which was hurting in the first place. And that's what started killing me. I'd be a little more angrier, but seeing him spin around in the air is kind of fun. Number 2, Rafflesia. Let me start off by saying that this thing is a jerk. This thing's sole purpose is to stall you out by using its stem to heal itself every couple of seconds, then attacking you with status ailments. Oh, and did I forget the stem that summons monsters like scorpions and bees?
Bees! Bees! They're huge and they sting crazy!
Oh, but don't worry, you can just destroy the stems that are healing and summoning monsters and not have to worry about them anymore, right? Wrong! This thing regenerates its stems after about 30 seconds of one of them being destroyed. So unless you can do enough damage to kill this thing before its stem regenerates, you're going to be fighting this thing for a very long time. But this isn't even the thing that broke me. I managed to defeat it after dying about 50 times, but I still defeated it. I can't say the same for the last boss on the list. Number 1, Fjerganger. This thing broke me! Literally! I must have spent hours trying to kill this thing. but my weapons wouldn't do any damage, and he would do massive amounts of damage to me with every single attack he did. The worst attack is where he pulls you into him while he's pulling in fireballs. It's basically an insta-kill if you get caught. So I went through a vicious cycle of dying, reforging my equipment, and then trying to kill it again, only to die just as fast as I did the last time. And this went on and on and on and on until I just couldn't take it anymore. I did it. I committed the unholy sin of gaming, which is looking up how to beat the monster online, only to discover that I had to reforge my equipment to make it stronger, which is what I was already doing. But then I discovered how to give my equipment huge stat boosts without needing high quality ingredients. Oh, fun fact, after I figured out how to do this method, I made a how-to video on how to do it easier on YouTube, and that's why I do weekly videos now. The more you know, huh? And that's my top 5 hardest boss monsters. If you have a boss that gave you a lot of trouble and it wasn't on my list, let me know in the comments below. And as always, until next time, see you later. I want to take a minute to thank you guys. It's been 3 weeks since we started Rune Factory Month, and the amount of support you guys have given me is amazing. A lot of you have liked and subscribed. Heck, even some of you commented on the videos giving tips to new players, which is the main reason I started doing Rune Factory videos, so keep it up. And some of you have even asked me to cover some topics in Rune Factory 4, which I don't mind at all. Please, if you have a suggestion for a video, let me know. I'll be happy to do it. And don't worry, after Rune Factory Month is over, I'll still be covering some Rune Factory videos, but I'll also be doing some other video games that I've always wanted to cover. So if you want to follow the stuff I do and like what I do, like and subscribe. And if you want to suggest some videos for me to do, be it Rune Factory or not, let me know in the comments below or send me a message. And unless something happens, I always upload on Saturday. So I'll see you next week for the end of Rune Factory Month.